All right. 3, 2, uno.
I've been married.
Did you forget your suit?
Are we supposed to wear suits?
You don't wear suits to important things?
I don't even have a suit.
Is this a joke to you?
What?
Is our podcast a joke to you?
No.
Where's your suit?
At the men's warehouse.
I just don't understand. Do you think that this is like some sort of John Brown production, like where you can just wear whatever you want?
Do I look like Brandon Petrie to you? The cat's wearing a suit.
Yeah, that's a tuxedo cat.
That's a tuxedo cat.
What's up?
I think we're gonna cut this one early. It's done. Bag it. We're out of here.
We finally get it figured out, and Tim Wolf decides he doesn't need to wear a suit. It's wild. Tim Wolf, how do you feel about death?
It's not happening fast enough.
For you personally?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought you were gonna say for all of us, and I was like, I can see why people join cults if that's what you said. I'd join that cult.
No, not you guys. I want you guys to be the last 2 people left on the planet.
That's my nightmare.
Because we're fly as fuck?
Yeah, because you have suits.
Dude, Joe, you wouldn't want to be on Earth if it was just the last 2 of us. Remember that weekend that I spent at your house and how much fun it was? Like, that would be all the time.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick, but I do like doing comedy, and it's hard to do that. Do we just take turns standing on stage?
Yeah, it's just you and Ray, and then Ray's on his phone while you're doing comedy, and then nobody's listening.
But like, there's nobody around, so like my phone's been dead for 5 years.
Yeah, you have a completely black screen, nothing's going on, but you're still looking at it.
Just like staring at, but like doing what I would be doing anyways, staring at myself in the reflection of the dark phone.
It'd be so much funnier if you still lived in Wisconsin too, and I was still here. And I'm just
but we
like,
got like a giant cup, 2 cups, and like a long string, just back and forth. Comedy
Okay.
Mushroom Cult podcast. Tim Wolf. How's life?
It's all right. No, it's not. It's pretty bad right now, but it's fine. I have 2 places.
You moved to Lakewood?
Well, no, I'm between places now, so I'm just driving back and forth from Lakewood to Niles.
What's Niles?
Like every other day. It's like near Youngstown. It's it's like an hour and 20 minutes from Lakewood, or hour and like 10.
Oh,
So
nice.
because I still work here for some reason, like in Niles, so it's like, and I work at like 4 a.m, so I could either wake up at 2 a.m. in Lakewood and drive an hour and a half to get to PetSmart by 4, or I could just stay at my parents' house on Monday nights and Wednesday nights and then just get up at like 3:30, and then it's a 10-minute drive. So I'd rather do that than wake up at 2 a.m.
There's like 700 PetSmarts. You could probably get a job at one of the other ones closer.
Yeah, but I don't like meeting. I don't like meeting new people, and I'm also like, one of my bosses is like a friend of mine, and I like having a boss that's a friend of mine because it's harder for them to fire me. So it's like, it's a convenient job. Plus, it's like a morning job, so I can have all my nights free for comedy. Whereas if I transfer, they might be like, "What about closing every day?" And I never have to close at this PetSmart. So it's like a really ideal job. I get like 30 hours a week there, and I make enough to tread water financially, and then I can have my nights open for comedy. So that's ideal right now, but who knows what's going to happen in the future. I feel like I should probably find something else, but
Can I ask you a question about your surroundings right now? Are you in a cargo container?
What? I thought it was an old like VFW hall.
No, this is my old, this used to be a bunk bed, so that's why the headboard is an iron bar.
The angle's very weird. It makes it look like you're in like a wooden box.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like it's just a bunk bed.
Oh, that's exciting. Was there room for a top bunk to be on there?
Yeah, it was hard though, because when I had girlfriends and stuff, they would like stay over, and they would like
Did they jump on the top bunk or the bottom bunk?
They would like always they would like hit their heads on the bed when they tried to like sit up, and so they would just walk around with like knots on their heads. It's like all my girlfriends at some point had a knot on their head because I'm a fucking loser with a bunk bed. So it's like I felt bad.
It's just so funny that if someone's like, "Hey, how'd you get that knot on your head?" They're like, "Oh, I stayed at my boyfriend's house."
Like there's just like the Tim Wolf's Me Too movement is just gonna be like 7 women who have like knots on their head from bunk beds.
Yeah. Wearing sunglasses because they hit their
Also low-key humble bragging with 7.
Oh wait. No, actually it was 5. I added 2.
Oh.
I have a joke I've been doing about how like I got 5 women in a bunk bed, which is the equivalent of getting like 50 in a regular bed. So I feel like I was doing pretty good for myself. So it is 5, but I said 7 because it seemed like one of them maybe got multiple knots. I don't know.
It'd be fun if one of their names was Dawn, so you'd have Dawn Knots.
Dawn Knots.
I don't know who that was for. I don't know who that was for.
My mom would love that joke. My mom would love that joke.
Hey, teach your mom how to download this podcast and shout it out to her.
There's not enough hours in the day. There's just not. Oh man, I feel like if a girl got more than one knot on her head, that's like that's the keeper. Because if it happens once, you're like upset about it, but if you do it again, they still stick around. That's the wife.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about dating though, so don't take my advice.
Yeah, but the last girl like I brought up here, she was just like, "This isn't gonna work. This fucking bunk bed," and so she made me take it down. So now that's why I don't have a bunk bed anymore.
Was there somebody else on the other bunk, or what was the
I never had any
bunk bed
like
around?
My brother is 17 years older than me, and I've never lived in the same house as him, so the bunk bed was for nobody. I think they thought I think
you know how
parents,
the Jews keep a placemat for Elijah at the dinner table? Is that what you guys were doing?
You're just like, this is the guest house and just the top of the bunk bed.
Hey, we got a guest bedroom. It's in Tim's room. You're on top.
I think maybe they thought I would have more friends than I actually did. So they're like, maybe the friends will stay over if there's a bunk bed, but that people rarely stayed over. That's not true. I actually had a few friends that would stay over, but the bunk bed wasn't necessary. It was, and now I got like permanent like neck damage, I think, from the bunk bed, because whenever I would sit on my bed, I would have to like lurch forward because the bunk. And then now like I went to the chiropractor and he took an x-ray and he's like, your neck like is jutting out further than it's supposed to. And
I've known you for a handful of years and your posture now makes sense.
Right? Like everyone told me, they're like, you lurch when you like walk. And it's because I had a bunk bed.
It's not because I'm creepy. It's because I had a bunk bed.
This is just like, I wanted a bunk bed so bad when I was a kid. And then like, you're like reverse selling me on it. Like now I don't want one. Still as an adult, I was like, it would have been cool as a kid, but now I'm like, maybe not.
Every bunk bed should have a disclaimer on it that's like, don't sleep on this for longer than like 30 years or you'll fuck up your skeletal structure.
It just every bunk bed just comes with an episode of this podcast.
So you moved to Lakewood. Were you just sick of being the funniest person in Youngstown? Is that what it was? Like now you had to go and be like one of the funnier people in Lakewood?
Well, it's like I always wanted to go to Cleveland, but I never had any friends that like wanted to like move to Cleveland. And I never like, I mean, I did leave with I lived with Steve Mers for like a day in Lakewood, really? Like back in 2014. I had John Hensler lived with him, and then I moved in because Hensler wasn't.
Can we talk about the most boring house in the entire world of John Hensler with Steve Mers? I mean, I was gonna wait to let you know that Steve wants you to know that parallel thinking is a thing and you don't need to worry about it, because that was the funniest thing on the internet yesterday. But can you imagine Hensler and Steve Mers in a household together?
Oh man,
I never met John Hensler.
I blocked him on Facebook. I like them both
very much. I like him. He's nice in person until like a third person's around, and then all of a sudden he just snaps into Facebook John. And I like them both very much. It's just they try very hard to let everybody know that they're whatever they are.
He's like he used to do comedy?
I've seen him go up on stage and bomb talking about Louis C.K. doing comedy, or he did a recap of Bill Burr's latest special as his hosting set at a thing once. So, comedy is something you could call it, I guess.
Yeah, I blocked him because I posted a Queen's Gambit review on my Facebook that was like written by someone that was like, the absence of rape is what makes the Queen's Gambit the best show like so far this year. And I was like,
oh, I remember that.
Just like, let's just shit on like all the actors and writers who put all the time and effort into that show by saying that, oh, because nobody got raped. So my comment was that who even expected rape in the Queen's Gambit? I thought it was a show about chess. I wasn't expecting anyone to get raped. And then Hensler like chimed in and was just like, well, that was written by someone who experienced sexual trauma. So you saying that is saying that that person's sexual trauma isn't valid. And I was just like, just get the fuck off my post. Like I'm not gonna let you sit here and say that I'm justifying rape when all I did was say that I didn't expect rape in a show about chess. And I was like, get the fuck off my post. I was like, I know this is how you get attention and I appreciate it, but just like stay off my fucking post, like really. And I just ended up blocking him. But because
I keep him on there for that reason. I love it when he'll like throw a comment in and I'll be like, John, this isn't like, congratulations, like you're correct, but this is not the place for it. Like that's my favorite comment. If I did something where he'll comment like a whole thing on it, I'll be like, yes, I got him. And then I'll just be like, nobody cares. Like that's like what I'll put underneath it. Just take because he just wants you to engage. So you just want to be like, not today, and just like move on. And I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know.
This is wild for me because he's just a stranger to me. So I'm like imagining him. He kind of looks like a guy that plays Hellboy, Ron Perlman. I don't know why. That's why I'm making him look like that in my head.
I like him, but that's the thing is I like him as a person. But like once there's like a crowd around, he has to like put some sort of like thing on, which it's just very weird. And I would say this to his face too, so I don't feel bad about saying it to 27 people who will watch this.
I mean, if I see him in public, if I see him at a show, I'll be nice to him. But I was just like, I don't need someone on Facebook telling me I'm fucking justifying rape because I said that I don't think I was expecting rape in the Queen's Gambit.
I read that. I remember you posting that article and I read it because I was like, what a wild premise for an article. And it was bad. It was like specifically about the janitor too. They were like, I can't believe the old janitor that taught her to play chess didn't rape her. And I was like, he was like the good guy in the TV show. It was wild.
It's like if I'm watching Rugrats, I'm like, Angelica, don't go into that dark basement. I'm scared of it. And it's just like, why would I fucking say that? Yeah, it's a show about Rugrats, and that's a show about chess. I'm not expecting violent things to happen unless they do.
Well, the premise was just like any show that has an older man with a younger woman, you should expect it. That's like what the article did, and I was like, it was really uncomfortable.
And then I made the argument that like I can't even off the top of my head think of like a bunch of shows that have had like rape in it. I mean, that have been like successful. I mean, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of. Yeah.
But then like it's what else? Like Frasier.
What was I don't you know that famous episode of Frasier where
it's like Frasier and then I think like every show on the CW.
Like Friends.
Like
the one where everyone gets raped or whatever that episode was called.
But what was what's that movie? The one that's got Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx, where like Gerard Butler's family gets murdered right off the rip.
Oh, Law-Abiding Citizen.
Law-Abiding Citizen. Right, and like that movie within like the first, my girl watched or turned it on the one time. She's like, "This is a fun movie," and then like within 5 minutes, you see his entire family get murder raped, and I'm like, "This is how this movie starts."
Does that happen in Taken? Because I know they find Liam Neeson's daughter and she's like drugged up.
they kind of like glossed over that and Taken. Like they
Yeah.
show her friend was tied up and like raped, but when they ask her about stuff, she's like, "I'm just glad to be alive, you know, Dad." And it's like, okay, I guess, I guess, I guess we won't talk about what happened in between.
I do like how Taken is all based around like people who just like kidnap women and then sell them to other rich people, and then everybody was super surprised about Epstein. And it's like, no, this is like the most like this is a theme of 1,000 movies, and you guys were surprised that this actually happened.
Yeah, and Liam Neeson blew the lid off it in like 2007. And we're surprised about it now.
What if Liam Neeson killed Jeffrey Epstein? And then everybody think, I don't, you know. It's possible.
Is that why the cameras went out in that jail? Is because they actually brought in like 4K cameras for the movie?
Yeah. Neeson sneaked.
Spoilers, guys. We don't need this hitting the public.
When Taken 4 comes out, we're all gonna realize that him committing suicide was silly.
It's actually going to be a team up movie it's going to be Taken 4 times X John Wicks or whatever it is. Keanu Reeves, whatever he does.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the John Wicks. Have either of you seen them?
Yeah, I think it's like it's how I bond with my dad. We don't watch them together. I just watch them and then I talk about it with him and say that was pretty good. And he goes, yeah, and that's it. It's not good.
So it's like us in Formula One. Like that's the bond that keeps us together.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Tim, who's your favorite Formula 1 driver?
I don't know. Mario Andretti.
Okay. I mean, that's
a legend. That's a good answer.
That's a great answer.
Like saying Michael Jordan, but whatever. It counts.
Michael Schumacher.
You know what's funny about John Wick is like my dad watched it and he said there wasn't enough action in it.
What? It's like nonstop action.
I know. It's like saying there's not enough porn in porn. I was like, what are you talking about, Dad? There's like nonstop fucking like shooting in the face.
It's like the only movie I've ever seen this happen to, where he like has a guy point blank and he goes to shoot him, and then he realizes his gun's out of ammo, so he just punches him real quick, and then like reloads the gun and then shoots him. And I was like, what a wild action sequence.
Yeah. It's like a really inconvenient, like a gun is such an inconvenient weapon if you're taking on like 50 people at once, but he makes it work. That's crazy.
Yeah. He makes it. Yeah,
Keanu Reeves does have like those super cool last minute moves though. Like in The Matrix where he like went to punch the guy and he like grabbed his hand and then he like extended his hand out and like got him in the throat. Like I don't know why that's been stuck in my head for 20 years, but
where he like
me was like yeah, I was like, oh, that's how you just finish any fight. Like it's unstoppable.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask a question? If we've reached like a bit of a pause.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know the suit thing was a joke, right?
Yeah.
It's just been on my mind the whole time.
Like, I wonder if he really felt bad. Like,
I felt bad not because I thought you guys really wanted me to wear a suit, but because it just dawned on me that I don't have a suit, and then I felt really bad about my future.
How do you apply for jobs? How did you get the PetSmart job without a suit?
I just I showed up and they were like, "Do you like animals?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "All right, you can work here."
I don't know how I thought a PetSmart interview would go, but yeah, that was pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only gotten jobs because of referrals from friends. I've never gotten a job based on just, maybe the first one, but even the first job I had, which was a movie theater, I was a projectionist, but I lied on the resume and said that I worked with my brother, like setting tile. And they thought when I showed up, they thought I could carry big, heavy movie reels because I was going to be strong, but I was like super skinny and like weak. And they were just like, oh, but it was fine. It wasn't like a big deal. I dealt with it for 9 years.
So, all right, cool. So a projectionist at a movie theater, this is actually very interesting to me. So you actually have to like put the film in. It's not just like pressing play. Like they don't send it like a file to you.
Well, it is now. Everything's digital now. But back when I was working there, I worked there from 2006 to 2015. And when I first started, I think like Borat was one of the first movies that we had there. And they were like, thread Borat and like run it through the machine. So you gotta like, they sent it and usually one movie comes in like 6 small reels, and then you splice the reels together in order, and that makes one movie. Unless you splice them out of order. Like we had a projectionist that accidentally spliced like the end of SpongeBob SquarePants in like the middle. So the crowd like watched half of SpongeBob, and then it just like ended, and then it went back to like the beginning, and they're like, "What did fucking Tarantino do the SpongeBob movie?" Because it was the way it was just
The
cut was
Boondock
like so
Saints
weird.
present.
Yeah. So you had
That
to
was
like
the-
keep you
That's
had to
the one
keep
I'm
an eye
thinking
on
of,
like
right?
the number for the reels to get it like in order. But yeah, it was fun. Until
Yeah,
you
I don't.
dropped it. We dropped Dark Knight on the ground once. My friend, like back in '08, dropped the Dark Knight on the ground, which was like a 10 reel movie because it was like 2.5 hours long. And it took us literally like 7 hours to unknot all the shit that had fallen on the floor and resplice it. There were like 35,000 splices in that movie by the time we got it back together. It looked
Jesus.
like it was mayhem.
It seems like that would be very irrational way to like make things. Is
What
like
do you
on a
mean?
reel.
This was
On a
like
reel?
2008. This was like 2008. They couldn't just burn it on a CD and give it to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm
No,
saying.
you
Like
know
it just
those like
seems like a waste of time.
when you saw movies in theaters back in the day, you remember when they would have like the little like circle in the corner of the screen? They call them cigarette burns. Those
Yes,
would be
I've
like,
seen Fight Club.
oh yeah, those are like real changes. So
I've seen
Chuck Palahniuk,
Glorious Bastards.
Yeah.
Chuck Palahniuk was a projectionist. That's why he put that in there. And that's why when I was a kid, I loved Palahniuk books. And then when I became a projectionist, I was like, look at me, I'm kind of like Palahniuk. And now that I'm writing, like now I'm a writer, I'm like, I'm not Palahniuk because these are all bad things that I'm writing.
And you appear to like women as well. I was actually talking
And I
about
do
Fight
like
Club
women,
today.
yeah. Really?
Some guy I was talking about
Oh yeah, we
Monday
don't need
night
this
at
anymore, right?
no, I'm taking mine off. It's
Oh
hot in
god,
here.
that's because I'm sweating. I have the AC on.
Monday at Water Street, somebody showed up and was like in a Fight Club shirt, um, and was like talking about how he was being censored too much and all this stuff. And I was like hosting, so I went up after him and I was like, I think it's like go ahead and talk about whatever you want, but I really think it's funny you're wearing a Fight Club shirt and talking about like everybody being snowflakes when that entire movie was like Paul Nick like making fun of people like you, like
Yeah.
complaining about that. Like
I like
it's
I like that you're talking about Fight Club while you're taking your clothes off and look like you're about to join Fight Club.
You just get completely naked and start ranting about Fight Club.
Well, that's like I wasn't sleeping well and I still am not for like the longest. So I was like in like a weird haze for the longest. And I put something online where it was like, yeah, I haven't slept in a while and I want to know when I start looking like Brad Pitt because I don't even look like Edward Norton yet. And nobody thought it was funny, which nobody thinks it's funny now either. So I guess it's just not funny.
Now I'm gonna put a suit on.
That'd be wild.
This is a pitch for the Patreon. This is why you need to pay the $3 to get the video of all this, because this is literally for Harrison.
Wait, so also for Harrison.
Nobody sees the video except Harrison?
I make like a clip.
Yeah, we'll make a clip of it. But Harrison's our only Patreon patron, and I even made everything. Oh, I've been looking for this face mask. I even make it cheap enough where everybody can just join it, just if they wanted to, and they just did it.
What was I gonna ask?
I don't know.
Oh yeah. So when we were like trying to figure out if we were gonna wear suits earlier, I texted Ray and I was like, "Hey, we're gonna do that suit thing today," and he was like, "Convince me." And I sent him a wild message, and then you sent back like, "Hey, my car had to read this back to me." What kind of voice did your car have?
So my car, yeah. So I got a new car last week, and it will like if you plug your phone into it. It's a Hyundai Kona. Shout out to the fine people of Boucher Hyundai Genesis in Waukesha, Wisconsin.
I don't know what any of those words mean.
But it when you hook it up, it like has Google Assistant like read its text. So it's like a very nice lady that reads my text for me. And it was like, "Hey, motherfucker, like you need to put this motherfucking suit on." But like instead of an aggressive white man, it was like a very nice lady that said it.
How much was your car?
I leased it, so I just like pay money for a month. I mean, I don't want to talk about finances, Tim Wolf. How much is your fucking car bed? Jesus.
The bunk bed, idiot.
Is this the part of the episode? Yeah, is this the part of the episode where the guest comes and tells us we should be making more money on the podcast? Because it seems to happen every time we have a guest.
Well, where's Harrison's money he sent it you going?
It's still in a bank. It's just in our Patreon.
We bought these suits for a joke that wasn't worth it. We had $3 in the bank account. We spent $700 on suits.
For a joke that was funny to us for no reason. That's what we did.
How surprised would you have been if I answered in a suit, though?
That would have been great.
That would have been so fucking happy.
that would have been the best thing that happened to me in my life.
Do you think that's how like news anchors started wearing suits? Like one guy was doing the weather and he'd like, it'd be pretty funny if I wore a suit to work tomorrow. And then they were like, this is great. Do this every day.
Yeah,
I want to know why they put a suit on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Back in the day, they just wore like wife beaters. And then somebody showed up in a suit and they were like, this kind of looks more pleasing on camera.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be crazy if news people just wore like wife beaters and like fucking shorts?
Just have like
you're not supposed to call them wife beaters anymore?
What are you supposed to call them?
I don't know. I think somebody said
Spouse
it was
beaters?
like a Y shirt or something like that. I don't know.
A what?
Sean Penn's.
Sean Penn's.
Chris Brown's.
Somewhere my Chris Brown's.
In his defense, I don't think he was married to any of them.
You got your dress blues and your Chris Browns.
But I don't know, I was listening to a podcast and they're like, yeah, because of like, it was like something dumb. It was like, you can't call them wife beaters anymore. Like, you need to get it out of your vernacular. And I was like, all right.
It wasn't this podcast.
Huh?
It wasn't this podcast, right?
No, it wasn't this one. But it was like, but I don't know the last time I had even thought of a wife beater or calling it a wife beater, period, until this person's like, you're not allowed to say wife beater anymore. And I was like, I didn't even know that this was an issue.
What are they called?
Tank tops?
They're just tank tops? That's
dumb.
They
called them like a YT or something like that. And I was like, all right, cool. Good for you. Tank like, I know what you're talking about.
You're thinking about white tee by them franchise boys. That's not the same thing.
Yeah, my white tee, I break a bitch back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're called A shirts.
A shirts, that's what it was.
Men's A shirts. Yeah, I guess Fruit the Loom can't be like men's wife beaters.
Well, here's the thing. They should just change it to partner beaters because gay marriage is legal and we need to be inclusive.
If anybody starts calling them wife beaters, it's going to be the My Pillow guy. He's going to come out with his own brand.
Like memory foam wife beaters.
Remember every hit. Jesus.
A pillow could be a wife beater if you're a really playful like husband. Just like very.
Is that what you called the top bunk of your bunk bed? Was the wife beater?
Used to have friends who would sleep on the wife beater.
So can we do a quick recap of the things that Tim Wolf has made us talk about? Chess players not getting raped. Wife beaters. That's about it.
And John Hensler.
Yeah. Nah, he rules. Oh yeah, finish your Lakewood story about Steve Mers living there for a day.
Oh wow, we really got off.
Yeah. I told him I'd live there for like the next 4 months because Hensler only stayed for like 8 and he had like 4 months left on the lease. And my girlfriend at the time was going to Cleveland State. And I was like, well, this works out because I could like live here and then do comedy and then hang out with my girlfriend. But then what I ended up doing was just staying at my parents' house in Niles. And then I had the apartment for 4 months and paid the rent, but I never stayed there more than like once or twice. So I had a place. I spent like almost $1,000 probably on a place I only stayed at one time. Jeez. And I was like, all right. But you know what? Steve is so nice. I was like, if I'm going to pay half of like anyone's rent, it might as well be Steve Mers.
Yeah, I like Steve Merz. It was a very funny thing where like everybody was in on the joke of you stealing Shane Herman's joke until Steve popped on and he was like, but really guys, parallel thing. It's like I think everybody was on the same team that we were all just busting balls here. And then it's like popped in and was like, we need to make this a serious thing. Like, all right, go talk about it on your fucking podcast with David. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah, do you guys wear suits? Fuck, is this amateur hour? Jesus Christ.
Steve was worried I was going to get canceled or something for that Alamo joke. That's why he chimed in.
Which, like, I know his heart was in the right place, but it was like, hey, man, like, I think that's the problem with him and, like, John Hensler. I think just to, like, put a button on it, is they don't understand context at all. Like, in that context, it was like everybody was just 100% like busting your balls for it because like Shane had a similar idea like what, a year ago?
And 6 years ago.
6 years ago. So like
almost
there's absolutely no way. And then he just pops in and he's like, just so you know, parallel thinking. And it's like, yeah, dude, we get it. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. That was like, but I typed that into Google. Usually if something seems super hacky, I won't even post it. And before I posted that, I was like, this seems super hacky. I shouldn't post it. And then after I posted, I Googled it and I was like, oh my God, like so many other people thought of this. And then I was like, this is going to be an issue. And then it's like, normally I would delete it, but then that like post became such a weird fucking rambling from a bunch of different people that I was like, I'll just keep it on here for entertainment.
Yeah, it's worth it for that. I did remember when the Funny Stop had their own podcast for a hot second when like Austin was doing that?
Oh yeah.
So Austin had some other dude from Columbus come on and he was like, I hate it when people steal jokes. And like I was kind of a dickhead about it too, where I was like, none of my jokes are stealable because I try to like make them like niche. And I was like, all right, one, that's just like a real shitty dumb like I'm an artist thing to say. But he was like, the joke that he said that somebody stole from him was he moved into a new apartment and he looked at like the sex register or like sex offender registry and it looked like his neighborhood had chicken pox. And I was like, oh, I've heard that joke 40 times from 40 different people. And he was like, yeah, this guy stole it from me. And I was like, get out of here.
Anthony Jeselnik put that on a special.
Was that what it was? Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard that joke 1,000 times, like in different ways.
Yeah. That's like being mad that somebody was like, men and women are different. And then they're like, I have a bit about men and women being different. And then they just start fighting.
I just looked it up because I didn't see it. And now it makes contextually, this all makes a lot more sense to me.
Isn't that funny how he just like from the top ropes, he was saving Tim's like integrity. And then now, like, I don't think anybody else but me caught that. And that's why, like, the next post that Tim made, he was like, hey, don't like that other statement or like, don't like that post. And if you liked it, unlike it. So I was like, hey, man, I think it's just important for you to realize that parallel thinking happens.
It's comedy, baby.
Can I tell a movie theater joke real quick? Or not a movie theater, not a joke about the movie theater, but a story that I have about the movie theater?
Yeah, as long as it's a joke.
Okay, it is. No, here's what happened. So back in 2006, I started working there. And then I got to plug my laptop in. All right, it's plugged in. I started working there in 2006.
Dude, this is why this podcast rules, because like that's the funniest thing that anybody's done yet.
I gotta plug I gotta plug my laptop in. All right, it's done. Like immediately.
I texted Tim before this. I go, hey, don't worry about trying to be funny. Just let it happen. And this is the gold that he comes with.
No, there's something weird that happened at the movie theater that dictated the course of my life, right? So like I started in 2006. In 2007, we got a movie called The Hills Have Eyes 2 shipped in. And I was like the one that put it together, me and this other projectionist. And then after we put it together, usually by the time we were done threading or splicing the movies together, it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. So it was like 3 or 4 in the morning when we were done, and the other projectionist was like, hey, me and like a bunch of other people are gonna watch the movie like after the show, after like we leave here. So you want to like stay and watch it? And I was like, no, I heard The Hills Have Eyes 2 is garbage. I'm not gonna like sit here and watch like a garbage movie at 4 a.m. when I could be sleeping. So I just like left. And then the next day, that guy calls me and he's like, guess what? Like Ron came in after hours and saw us in the movie watching like Hills Have Eyes 2 off the clock, and we all had like popcorn and nachos and shit. So he fired all of us. And then so like that night, that night 3 people got fired. One of them snitched that 4 other people were taking money out of the drawer. So because of The Hills Have Eyes 2, 7 people got fired at that movie theater when I first started. So basically everyone fucking just the whole like crew was gone except for me and like a couple other people. And they asked me, they're like, what do you know about this embasslements? Like from the
Embezzlement?
fucking
embezzlement.
It's like
Like
high
they
school
made it a
kids taking
white collar
money.
crime.
What do you know
And I
about
was like,
these
I don't know
routing numbers? What about these sequential bills?
I was like, I've only been here a couple months. They didn't cut me on in their fucking schemes. I don't know what's going on here. And then he was like, all right, well, we don't want to find out you like took any money or knew anything about it. And I was like, I don't, so it's cool. And then, but then after that is when I met the dude that got me started doing comedy. So when I look back on my life, I'm like, shit, if I had watched The Hills Have Eyes 2 back in 2007, we wouldn't even be talking right now. I wouldn't know you guys. I probably would have done comedy. So it's like, it's so weird to
You would have
realize
had a suit.
I would have had a fucking suit. And that's just it. I got so complacent working there that my life just like became super stagnant. And I was like, I guess I'll be a projectionist forever. And now that's not even an occupation anymore. But looking back, I'm like, man, if I'd gotten fired, I probably would actually be in a lot more like I might actually
That's
have a
weird.
real job and be doing shit. But now because I didn't, I'm just doing comedy and that's it.
That's how I feel about like the only reason I do comedy is like I've always been a big fan of it. Like I just never knew that you could like do it. You know what I mean? Like you're like I
Yeah.
don't even know how to start. And I was working as a campaign manager for like a politician, and we were out at Water Street watching a Browns game on a Sunday after like doing our job or whatever, and Chad Zumach was there. And the lady that I worked for, like he was hanging out with like it was like one of those days where they bring people in at Water Street for like a Browns game, and it was like Chad Zumach, Savat was there, and a few other comedians that I don't remember. But my boss, I was like, oh, Chad Zumach's over there. Like he's on the radio. Like he's famous. He's my favorite comedian because he was at that point. And my boss thought that Savat was Chad Zumach. So she went over and got Savat and brought him over to hang out with us. And then like that's how I met Savat and just started like
Really?
hanging out with him. And then eventually he's just like, oh yeah, like you could just like show up and do comedy. So I would just like show up to like comedy shows. And then I was like, oh, like anybody can do this. So just because like we were at a bar and I was like, oh, I want to meet Chad Zumach at some point. Like maybe I'll buy him a beer. And my boss grabbed the wrong person. And that's like why I do this stupid shit.
So the first thing in comedy was you were disappointed that Savat wasn't Chad Zumach.
Yeah, who would have thought that between the two of them, Anthony Savat may be the most successful out of the two of them in entertainment.
Outside of Florida.
Outside of Florida. It was my favorite is watching and I mean I like watching Chad. He's very funny on stage. He's actually just like a wild person to deal with in real life though. But watching him and Pete talk on Twitter every once in a while, and Chad will be like, Pete, like Pete will be like, this is why you don't work any clubs. And Chad's like, I'll work your club. I've headlined there before. And Pete will just be like, I'll think about it. Like just on Twitter. And of course it's from the Funny Stop account. So it's just like a club on Twitter telling him to go fuck himself. It's so funny.
That's wild. Pete's wild. I love it.
Yeah, I think
Especially
the first time I saw Zumach was at Funny Stop.
I saw it. Yeah, he was that was like when like that time where it would be like Zumach and it would be like Brian Kenny opening for him or something like that. Like those were the times. Like that was like when I thought I was like, there's absolutely no way I'll be this good ever. And I'm still not as funny as Brian Kenny, but it's just like, oh, like I actually like know him now. You know what I mean?
He just he like just came back because he didn't do comedy all COVID because his like I think his girlfriend was high risk or something.
He's got like Crohn's disease too, or something.
Or maybe it's
like
him.
weird.
Yeah, I think he's diabetic or something. But he started doing it, and we did like a showcase together, and he was right before me, and I was nervous because I had to go after Brian, and he was like, "Oh, I haven't done this in a year. I'm gonna be rusty. Like you have nothing to worry about." And I was like, "Oh, perfect." Just murdered. Just went up and murdered. I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
To me, he's the best Cleveland comedian that like hasn't popped yet.
Yeah, I've never seen Brian Kenny not kill the crowd.
He's like the Keno guy too.
Yeah, which is very weird. His bearskin condom joke, if you haven't seen that joke, it's great. He's like, I've got a master's degree, but every once in a while I'd surprise myself with how dumb I am. Like when bearskin condoms came out, I didn't know where they were keeping all the bears to make these condoms.
Oh yeah, I remember that joke.
I'm like, God damn it, dude.
He has that long, he's like, I've asked him questions before because he does like real long bits too. And he has that long bit about like, he saw a tarp one time when he was on acid, or he was on mushrooms and he saw a tarp and they thought it was a horse. And they brought it like food and vegetables and shit. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh man, it's like such a good bit. He like, it saw like a tarp and they thought it was a horse and they named him Tony and they like got a bunch of shit to feed the horse. And then they went to the house and it was a tarp and there was a guy smoking a cigarette on the porch and they're like, "What did you do to Tony?"
Oh Jesus, we're freezing again. Well, this is
fun.
There we go. Frozen. Hey,
Your
we're back.
Video's frozen, yeah.
It popped back. We're back. I don't know why this keeps happening. It's probably because Ashley will like get on her computer and Zoom will pop up, even though she knows that I'm in here and she doesn't log out.
Trouble in paradise, am I right? Haha.
I'm gonna have to go get some. I'm gonna have to go get some A-frame shirts or whatever here soon.
Go get some Chris Browns.
Get some Chris Browns. God damn it! Why does it keep?
Look at that adorable way that Ray froze, though.
Yeah,
it looks like an ad for the Gap.
That's a.
This is why we wear suits. So if we freeze, then it's good. It's good publicity.
It's just new headshot. If it freezes, it's just your new headshot. That's it. What was that?
Are you about to get murdered?
No, my house has ghosts.
I wonder if anybody's been murdered during a podcast, like on video. That'd be crazy.
That'd be actually kind of cool.
Wow, a true crime podcast about a true crime podcast murder? Yikes.
Wouldn't that be good? It's like a mystery because you know one of the people is going to get murdered at the end of every podcast, but you don't know which one. And then at the end, the killer murders one of the people.
Oh.
So everyone sticks around to listen to the podcast even if they don't like what they're hearing, just to see who's going to get murdered at the end.
Is it one of the hosts gets murdered or one of the listeners?
Dude, this is annoying.
I'm real happy I got a screenshot of your frozen screen so I can just make up a fake crime you did later and post the mugshot.
That's one of my favorite internet things that's going on right now is when like gentlemen of darker descent will like post a picture and put like this is the picture CNN will use. I think that's a real funny internet trope lately.
Oh, it's amazing.
You know what you could do is you could have somebody killed and then while you're doing the podcast and then you have video evidence that you weren't in the area when that person was killed.
Oh, an alibi.
Yeah.
Hey, how about you just ruin like you just wrote a novel or you wrote something like
yeah. So James Patterson's watching this taking notes.
you okay, Ray, you literally told him don't plan anything, just come and let the ideas happen, and now they're happening and you're upset about it.
I'm just saying he just gave up $1 million.
There's 27 people that listen to this. I think he's gonna be fine.
Fucking, it'll be Bill Squire's song of the day again. He'll just come in here and steal Tim's idea for a book.
Harrison's gonna be on the jacket of a novel pretty soon. And it's
Look,
like, oh shit, he took the idea.
I love Harrison more than life itself, but I don't believe the kid has enough drive to write a book. I'm not even sure he knows how to read a book 100%.
What's his middle name though? I could see him being like an H.W. Poole. You know, like 2 initials and then his last name. That's an author's name, dude. H.W. Poole.
It's crazy that you could. It's crazy that you could have the last name Poole and then not. Like I feel like I would name my kid Swimming, just to make it like super weird for him forever.
That he should go by Above Ground Pool.
Above Ground. A.G. Poole. That's an author's name. Stands for Above Ground Pool.
Yeah.
Kitty, like kitty, like a kiddie pool, but it's like Kitty pool. And then you say kiddie pool.
Harrison, we just got your daughter's name locked.
Yep.
Kiddie Pool could be the femme fatale in this like alibi podcast crime novel.
That is a James Bond name.
Yeah, that's a Bond name. Yeah.
Kiddie Pool is?
Yeah, or like no,
like sounds like it would be.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be like a Austin Powers name. Like he.
Oh yeah, I feel like more like Austin Powers. Yeah.
As I tried to do Sean Connery's voice, it just sounded like me.
It sounded like me trying to be Sean Connery. Like, like you knew exactly what the impression was. All right, so we got 10 minutes. What is the most important thing going on in your life right now, Tim Wolf?
The most important thing?
Yeah, how do you feel about the Lord? How do you feel about your future? How's life treating you? What are your dreams?
How do you feel about the Lord? Why did you ask that?
My friend's been trying to convert me to Christianity ever since I got back from Chicago in 2018 because I left and he didn't have anybody to talk to except Jesus. So now he's like, so now like every time I'll tell him like I have a headache or something and he'll be like, you know what's good for headaches is Jesus. And I'll be like, no, I just want to like talk to you as a human being, not as like your religious affiliation. But he always like taught, and then he criticizes my comedy too because he's like, you know, you say things like that and it's like, you know, it's not moral. And it's like, you just made a rape joke the other day. And he's like, yeah, but when I talk to like God, you know, it's like forgiven. And I'm like, well, it's cool that God is your eraser for all the bad shit that you do. Like,
do you not call him like when you're like, I have a headache and he's like, you know what's good for that? Jesus. How are you not just like, you're thinking of Tylenol? That's what's good for a headache. Like you fucking missed. Like,
well, that was an extreme example. Yeah. He doesn't actually say it, but you know, it's like I'll be like, my dad, like I told him like it's like my dad has cancer, and he's like, have you thought about going to church? And I'm like, no, I have not thought about that at all. Actually,
we tried Tylenol
at all.
I thought about doing a car wash as a fundraiser, but I never thought of church.
Yeah. No, it's funny is like when I was like 14, my dad had he had cancer the first time when I was like 14, and we went to this church where they put their hand on you and you get the Holy Ghost and shit like that. And but they didn't want me to go
too.
Yeah, I went.
What was that like? Like I've only seen those in TV shows, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was so weird because they made you like I had to wash my dad's feet in water because of some like religious thing. Something in the Bible, like Peter washed someone's feet, like Jesus's foot.
Yeah, Catholic school. Thank you for that.
And so like they're like, you know what would help your dad's cancer is if you washed his feet. And I'm like, all right. So I washed my dad's feet, and then they didn't ask me to do the shaking around thing. They're like, because I wasn't like that religion or whatever, I wasn't confirmed, but they probably were like, he probably won't play along with it. So they didn't make me do it. But my dad, like they did it to my dad. They put their hand on his head and his eyes like rolled back and he started shaking. And then afterwards we got in like the car to leave. And I looked at him and I was like, that was fake, right? And he was like, yeah, everybody else was doing it, so I did it. And I was like,
you should tell your dad to go see Michael Otto at the Funny Stuff.
I know.
Hey, I'm hosting.
Are you hosting the Michael Otto show?
Yeah.
I had to do it once. It's a fun hosting weekend because it's like
I'm not even the whole weekend. I'm Thursday.
It's just one night.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you better hope that something fun happens, because I had to do it 5 shows.
I'll make
And
something fun happen.
night 1, a lady got arrested because she was like, I came to see comedy. I didn't want to see people messing with the devil. So that was night 1. So somebody got arrested. And then the late show on Saturday, some dude came in a Halloween costume and just was like on stage whispering in other people's ears while Michael Otto was trying to hypnotize people. And he's like, the like quiet music comes on, and he like comes backstage with like his hand over the mic, and he's like, I've got nothing. None of them are getting hypnotized. And Pete's like, well, you still have like 35 minutes, so you gotta figure it out. It was so much fun because I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, go tell jokes or something.
That would suck to be a comedy hypnotist and not be able to hypnotize people.
And then you have to do comedy, and you're like, oh no, I don't have that either.
Dude, it's so great. Like, it was so funny because like I actually had like 5 pretty decent sets, and then he goes up and like his like the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, this is crazy. Then like the next 2 times I was like, this is real sad. And then like the last 2 times I was like, why? I don't even know how I'm gonna keep doing comedy if this is how I have to make money is watch this. Like, it was very wild.
What do you think about the hypnotist thing? Is that like, is there, I mean, it has to be a real thing, right? To hypnotize people, but in mass like that, is that even, how's that work?
Well, what he'll do is you'll see him like if somebody like if it's not working on somebody, he'll just pull them off stage. So I think you have to be like susceptible to it, and you kind of have to be a dummy. I don't think you can be like smart and be hypnotized, but I also didn't want to like try it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to like go up there and then just like have it and to work, and then now I'm the asshole like humping the ground or something stupid.
So everyone has to take an IQ test before the comedy hypnotist show starts, and he's like, he goes through the forms, and he's like, whoever's dumbest is who I'm going to bring up.
Yeah, pretty much.
They said, what do you want me to be, a dog? I'll do it.
I can't spell it, but I'll do it.
What if he hypnotized?
What if he hypnotized
someone?
Food.
What if he hypnotized someone to be a dog, and then they come into PetSmart when I'm working, and I'm like, no, you're not a fucking dog, you're a human being, and they're like, no, I need fucking Purina Pro Plan, and I'm like, oh shit.
Eating the expensive stuff, so they're a rich dog.
It's a rich dog.
It's so funny to me that if Tim just has to deal with his hypnotized people coming into PetSmart, like every weekend that he has a show, Tim's like, God damn it, there's more of you.
That has to be something though, like where he has to like somebody go up there and be like, "Is this real? Can you tell them to like come buy a Kia?" Like, just like try to get them to sneak in there.
Yeah, what?
Like if
a
somebody
Kia?
came, yeah, a Kia, like a car. Like if I were selling cars and I wanted, like, I would go to like a comedy hypnotist and be like, all right, at your shows, make sure that you slip in that they got to go buy a Kia.
Slip in Serpentini Chevrolet.
Is that what happened to Nicolas Cage in Gone in 60 Seconds, as they hypnotized him to take all those cars?
Maybe.
I think they just threatened his brother like a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's it.
The only Nicolas Cage movie I've seen from beginning to end was National Treasure, and that happened 4 weeks ago.
That's the only one you saw beginning to end?
What?
Yeah.
How?
What about Leaving
What
Las
other movies
Vegas?
is he in?
National Treasure 2 for starters.
Yeah. Watch Mandy. That's a really good movie with Nicolas Cage.
That doesn't really. Hey, also, when you call it being a projectionist, do you not realize that you're just like, you work at Subway, but you're calling it a sandwich artist? Like, you're doing the same thing.
Why? It's a projectionist.
No. Yeah, that's a real one.
What else would you call?
What else would you call it? Yeah.
I don't know, a guy that works in a movie theater? Like, hey, when I was working in a movie theater.
Oh, you're right. That's way easier than projectionist. That's on us. My bad, dude.
When I was working at a movie theater, I was putting this film together. But like, no, it's like when people are like, yeah, I work at a Subway, and they're like, when I was going to sandwich artist school, like, yeah, we get that that's what you call them, but nobody's ever
I put projectionist on. I put projectionist on my tax forms. You don't put sandwich artist on your tax forms if you work at Subway. You say restaurant worker or whatever.
Plus, like,
Why?
films are art. So like a production, like I don't think that sandwiches are. I've never looked at a sandwich and been like, "That's art," and meant it.
You kind of splice meats together, I guess, but
yeah.
You've never looked at a sandwich and said this was art? I find that
in
untrue.
A serious tone, unironically.
I know you as a human being. I have slept in your house. I could see you looking at a sandwich and being like, this is art.
Yeah, but 100 people aren't relying on you to make one sandwich. Like 100, like we would have like 200 to 300.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you never had a 6-foot sub from Subway?
Like a sandwich is just for like
one person. How
many
people do you think a 6-foot sub feeds, man? How many?
At least 100.
You said 100 people, and you're like, yeah, 6-foot sub, obviously.
Or a party platter, one of those like big ones where they bring in multiple subs.
Yeah.
All right, Tim Wolf. I have to go eat Mexican food.
Hey, do we have to like do anything else with the suits, or is this bit done?
The bit's done. The podcast is about to be done. If you let me be professional for a hot second.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey Tim. Tim Wolf. But hey, now that you're in Lakewood and you do Lakewood comedy, what same 17 people are you gonna make laugh for the next 2 weeks?
Well, hopefully Joe.
What shows do you have coming up? Hey, you should talk to Joe because he can get you on at the Winchester. It used to be an open mic, but now it's like very hard to get on.
I went to that show. It was really cool.
Thanks, man.
I want to do that room.
Yeah, we'll get you on it. Ray just loves to talk shit about it.
Why, you don't like the room?
No, I like the room. It just used to be an open mic. And then Joe was like, yeah, next time you're in town, hopefully I can get you on the show. And I was like, I can get myself on the show. I've been doing open mic before. And he's like, oh no, we book it out a little bit. And I was like, oh, who books it? And he's like, oh, well, I do. And I was like, oh, so all I have to do is talk to my friend to get on the show. And you're like, yeah, I can get you booked on the show. Like he just made it very like mysterious for no reason.
Oh, it was awkward? You mean like how I am as a person? Oh, sorry about that, man.
It was like when I was running the Water Street and I was like, hey, I could probably get you on the Water Street if you're in town during that time. It's like, yeah, if you show up, I'm going to put you on the fucking Water Street.
Yeah, but it's more exclusive now, though.
Yeah, it's very exclusive. What shows do you have coming up, Tim Wolf?
I only have one show coming up, and it's in Mercer, Pennsylvania, 5 days.
That's what's up. Shout out to Mercer, PA.
Oh yeah,
it's for veterans.
Shout out to the veterans. Troops. The last time I saw you do comedy was at that random green bar. What was that called? That one that was in Youngstown. Fuck. It was you, me, Malaterno was there, Scardino was there. I brought my buddy Josh. I forget who else was on the show.
It was a green bar?
It was like an army brewery. And it was like all green in there.
Might have been Rust Belt Tavern.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I don't know. Youngstown has some good rooms, actually. I mean, people show up there and it's fun shows because there's nothing else to do in Youngstown, so they come out.
I don't know. My favorite one is the fucking that wine bar that's in is that Niles? Right over by the Golden Corral? Or the fucking buffet that there's no other ones anywhere else.
Golden Corral. No, Ponderosa.
Ponderosa.
No. Ponderosa?
Yeah.
Oh wait, the Inner Circle mic?
No, it was Cork and Cap.
Oh, Cork and Cap.
Oh yeah,
that place rules.
Yeah, that was a fun room.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a thing anymore, but yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I did it once and it was awesome. I think.
I did it twice. NBD.
Yeah, you're better than me.
I wouldn't go that far.
All right, fight me.
Joe, when is the next Winchester show?
July, I want to say 29th. It's Liz Mealy. It's Liz, Jimmy Graham, and John Armstrong. So it'll be a good one.
You couldn't get on there?
No. And then
who's hosting?
John Armstrong.
Okay, that seems.
And then
like that should be the order of that show.
I have a show tomorrow.
Oh, if this podcast is up, maybe it'll be happening right as soon as the show happens.
Yeah.
What's your show tomorrow?
It's that like Front Street Follies show in Berea. I've never done it. I've just heard good things, and tomorrow's like my first time doing it.
Oh yeah, I heard about that show. That's the only other show besides Grindstone on Mondays, right?
Or Tuesdays. I think it's just that and TikTok tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, today is Monday. I keep forgetting today's Monday.
Today's Twist. Yeah.
Oh yeah, is Twist a good show? I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, it's not bad for like being the only show on Mondays. It's pretty solid. Like you'll get like rooms of people that are into it, so that's nice.
Yeah, you have to be okay with like pockets of people. Like it's a lot of times. I think it's turning into like people knowing that Monday's comedy night.
It's like 50-50.
Yeah, the one time I went there, like nobody was caring that it was comedy, but it was also still like winter, I believe.
Yeah.
But that was nice. I'm hosting at Skyline Comedy Club this weekend. If anybody cares, who is right around?
I do.
Okay, I'll be there.
Hey, come on up. I can get you on the Wednesday open mic. I don't know if.
How often do you go? Chicago's not far from you. How often do you go to Chicago?
I haven't been there that often. The last time I was there to do comedy was when we hung out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because it's like they shut back down like soon after that. And they've still been like real weird. Like I don't even like I've got to start going to Milwaukee again because they just got rid of their mask ordinance. So like I got to start doing that. But
you know, it's crazy that show that you were at in Chicago. There was a comic that went up and he knocked up the girl that I liked in Chicago.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite. I watched Tim Wolf kind of bomb. And at that, it was a 3:00 in the afternoon mic that he showed up at just to hang out with me. And then we talked we said 7 words to each other the whole time because we didn't want to be rude. And then he kind of bombed, but he was telling like, I forget what, it was like a joke about black people. And the only person who laughed at it was the only black person there. And was just like, no, yeah, everybody else is wrong, not Tim Wolf. Like,
that's how it goes. Is like that when I do the racial jokes, the black people laugh and the white people that don't laugh, I feel like are the racist ones because they're like, if we laugh, they'll know.
They're admitting they're racist. Yeah, if they laugh, they're admitting it. Yeah.
So, but the black people are like, we know it's a comedy show, so we're gonna laugh, and white people are like, we can't be revealed as racists.
Is that why John Hensler was so anti-rape? And he was like, I need to cover my trails.
I mean, a lot of people that are
that's like, the note you want to end on. We wore fucking suits, and you want to end on that note?
Sorry.
It's like the really religious people, or a lot of those are deeply closeted homosexuals, and they're just like, and they're like, maybe if I worship this God, then that'll like undo the homosexuality, and it's like you don't need to undo it, but you go to the church to be pure or whatever, and it's just not like there's a guy that was really religious, and he would try to fuck me all the time. And I'm like, I don't know what
for Jesus,
what it is. What is it about that specific religion that makes you want to have sex with me?
Is this the headache guy? Is it the same guy?
No, he was an old boss of mine.
Oh, because that would just be like maybe he's just a good friend, like trying to get rid of your headaches, trying to convert you to the Lord, trying to show you homosexual love. Like
he's just like, to make your headache go away, and you're like, no, Jesus isn't gonna help. And he's like, how about fucking me?
Yeah.
I heard sex gets rid of headaches.
No, like he texted me at 2 a.m.
Sex aches.
He texted me. This guy texted me at 2 a.m. once, and he was like, you have a girlfriend? And I was like, no. And he was like, with that smile, winky emoji. And I was like, that's him trying to fuck me for sure.
No, maybe he just wanted to give you a compliment. I text people like that all the time.
Yeah, but not winky emoji.
I will winky emoji you to hell, sir. I will. He was just trying to be friendly.
I will burn you.
Well, I'll fuck you, Ray.
With that smile?
Winky face.
Winky face. All right, go follow Tim Wolf on all the things. You can see his comments are popping. Joe Briggs, follow him. Dude, your website is so funny. I had to repost Joe's website. So find that on all the Who Is Ray Robert shit. All right, when I hit end, this is over. So anything new you want to say before we go, Tim?
Video turn. Yeah, no, so.
No, I don't have anything else.
All right, guys.
I'll go get a suit.
Yeah, go get a
mustache
suit.
Even?
All right, bye.
Bye.